Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. You know, folks, I've been watching General Hospital for more years than I care to count, and let me tell you, nothing gets my blood pumping like a good old-fashioned turnaround in Port Charles. I remember sitting in my favorite chair the other day thinking to myself, well, it's about time. Because after all these months of Sidwell strutting around like he owns the whole town, it looks like the tide is finally turning. And let me share with you why Laura and Sonny's new plan might just be the biggest threat that Slippery Fella has ever faced. See, for the longest time, Sidwell held all the cards. He took out Professor Dalton, leaned hard on Laura, played Sonny like a fiddle, and somehow stayed 3 steps ahead of everyone trying to stop him. It was frustrating to watch, wasn't it? Like that old saying we have around here, the fox is in the hen house and the dogs are barking up the wrong tree. But things are changing now, and I couldn't be happier about it. What really warms my heart is how Laura, Sonny, and even Lucas are finally working together instead of going at it alone. That's the key, you know? When good people link arms, the bad ones start to sweat. Lucas came through with some important information about Pascal, and just like that, the pressure is swinging right back onto Sidwell. I can picture Laura right now shifting from defense to offense, no longer just trying to survive, but figuring out how to take him down for good. That's the kind of strong woman we've always loved on this show. Smart, determined, and done with playing nice. And get this. Pascal bolting from Windermere, that's a clear sign the plan is already working its magic. For the first time in ages, Sidwell isn't the one pulling the strings. He's the one who has to look over his shoulder, wondering who's coming for him next. I tell you, it feels satisfying, like finally seeing justice catch up after too many close calls. In my book, this coordinated push could be what breaks Sidwell once and for all. No more hiding behind his schemes. Laura and Sonny have been through the ringer, but they're showing us all that when you stand united, even the toughest bullies can be brought low. I can't wait to see how this unfolds. It's the kind of story that keeps us coming back, reminding us that hope and teamwork still matter in this crazy world. What do you think, friends? Isn't it about time Sidwell gets a taste of his own medicine? You know, I've been glued to General Hospital for more years than I can count, sitting right here in my old recliner with a cup of coffee. And let me tell you, one of Sidwell's biggest advantages is starting to crumble away like an old stone wall after a heavy rain. It really makes you feel something, doesn't it? That man Carlo Rota plays him so slick and confident, always one step ahead. But lately I've been watching with a big grin on my face because things are finally turning around in Port Charles. See, Sidwell's real strength wasn't just his money or his muscle, it was how he kept everyone isolated, like a clever shepherd separating the sheep so they couldn't band together. Laura's been tied up in knots with his blackmail, barely able to breathe without looking over her shoulder. Sonny's been running around trying to protect his family and keep himself safe from all the trouble raining down. And poor Lucas has been off on his own, heartbroken and searching high and low for answers about who killed his son Marco, each one of them holding important pieces of the puzzle. But as long as those pieces stayed scattered across town, Sidwell could laugh and stay comfortably ahead of the game. It used to frustrate me to no end. I'd mutter to myself, come on now, folks, don't let that rascal divide and conquer like that. But oh, what a difference a few smart moves make. That's why Lucas finally stepping forward and sharing everything he knows feels like such a breath of fresh air. When he opened up about Pascal and the truth behind Marco's murder, it wasn't just one more conversation. It was like flipping on a bright light in a dark room. All of a sudden, the secrets aren't tucked away in separate corners anymore. Laura, Sonny, and even the good folks at the Port Charles Police Department are starting to see the full picture coming together. No more lonely battles. Now it's a real united front, and Sidwell has to deal with coordinated pressure instead of picking them off one by one. I especially love how they're using Sidwell's own obsessions against him. It's smart, patient, and feels so satisfying. Lucas planted that seed just right by pointing the finger at Pascal for the killing. Before you know it, The police were knocking on the door at Windermere, asking tough questions. Pascal, that shady butler, didn't waste any time. He hightailed it out of there to save his own skin. It might not be the knockout punch yet, but it's already done something powerful. It's shaken Sidwell up. For the first time in many long months, that cool, calculating man looks genuinely rattled and off balance, like someone who suddenly realized the ground beneath his feet isn't as steady as he thought. Watching this unfold reminds me of those old stories my grandpa used to tell about the American heartland, how a group of neighbors could come together to raise a barn or fight off a common threat. When people stop fighting alone and start sharing what they know, even the toughest bully starts losing his grip. Laura isn't just surviving anymore, she's moving with real purpose. Sonny's protective instincts are fueling something bigger. And Lucas's pain over Marco is turning into fuel for justice. It's emotional, it's real, and it hits you right in the chest. I tell you, friends, this shift feels like the beginning of something important. Sidwell's control, built on keeping everyone apart, is slipping through his fingers. The walls are closing in, and for once, he's the one who has to worry about what's coming next. It gives an old guy like me hope that no matter how dark things get in Port Charles, the good people who care about each other can still find a way to push back. I can't wait to see what happens next. Will they keep tightening the net? How will Sidwell react when he realizes his biggest advantage is gone? These are the moments that make General Hospital so special. The kind that keep us coming back week after week, rooting for the folks we've grown to love. It's not just drama. It's a reminder that teamwork, truth, and a little bit of courage can change everything. What do you think? Doesn't it feel good to see the tide finally turning? You know, I've been watching General Hospital long enough to recognize when the wind starts blowing in a different direction, and right now, it's blowing strong against Sidwell. Let me tell you, friends, Laura isn't playing defense anymore, and that change feels as refreshing as a cool breeze on a hot summer day in the South. Those photos and negatives that Lucas managed to get back are incredibly important. They took away one of Sidwell's most powerful weapons, the evidence he was holding over Sonny and Laura, tying them to Professor Dalton's death. As long as he had that hanging over their heads, he could control them, keep them dancing to his tune. But once that proof went up in flames, everything shifted. The balance of power isn't the same anymore, and I sat there smiling, thinking, finally, they're not letting him hold all the cards. What really warms my heart is seeing Laura's attitude change so clearly. For months, she was forced to focus on just surviving, meeting his demands, and walking on eggshells. Now, she's done with that. She's talking straight about bringing him down, using all her political connections and influence to shine a light on his dirty dealings and expose whatever crooked business he's running in Port Charles. That's the Laura we love, strong, smart, and ready to fight back. It reminds me of those tough pioneer women in the old American stories, the ones who protected their families and their town when trouble came knocking. And don't get me started on Pascal. Scared for his life and taking Sonny's deal money and a safe way out of the country in exchange for solid information, he spilled the beans about Sidwell's safe at Windermere. He said it holds the answers they've all been searching for. The way Lucas turned right around and headed back there shows how determined the good guys are. They're not holding back anymore. They're willing to take real risks to dismantle this criminal operation piece by piece. It's brave, it's united, and it feels right. All in all, this feels like the beginning of a real turning point in Port Charles. Laura, Sonny, and Lucas working together like this gives an old man like me hope that even the slickest villains can lose their grip when decent people stand strong and fight smart. I can't wait to see how much further they push this. Justice might take time, but when it starts moving, it moves with purpose. Doesn't it feel good to see our favorites finally going on the offensive?